Closet, a Todd Mills mystery. Book 1. Author R.D. Zimmerman. Publisher Scribble Pub. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Narrator Eric Ost. Chapter 18. The sidewalk sale was going full force. There were guys everywhere, milling about on the sidewalk, eyeing the goods, groping the wares, trying to make up their minds. The bars had just closed in downtown Minneapolis, and a flood of queers was pouring out of the gay times onto the sidewalk. Last call for drinks had been issued a half hour ago. This was the last chance. If you hadn't met the boy of your dreams during the evening inside, then the sidewalk sale out front was the final opportunity of the night. And the hundreds of men milling about on the brightly lit sidewalk were by no means masking their desirous, alcohol-fueled intentions. Take me, love me, be mine, at least for an hour. Seated inside his dark car, the man watching the goings-on. While a few of them paired up, most of them went home alone, sauntering away from the gay times, heads hung, pace slow, even dejected. Sure, the bar scene was exciting and fun, all the men, all the hormones, all that music. It grew old, though. He knew that. All that cruising took a lot of energy. Some gay friends of his just hated the bar scene. Or so they claimed, even though they still came down here all the time. Each day since he'd done Michael, he'd been surprised, grinning. He realized he'd literally gotten away with murder, at least so far. Knock on wood. No one suspected him, because of course all the attention was still focused on Todd Mills. In just this morning's Tribune, one letter to the editor had expressed shock that Channel 7 hadn't fired Mills on the spot. Another letter signed, "Two Dykes on Bikes," cursed Mills for fostering homophobia and violence against gays and lesbians. And a teenage boy asked how was he supposed to develop a positive self-image when gays in positions of power like Todd Mills and all those famous Hollywood actors denied their true identities. Amazing, he thought. In the course of one short week, Todd Mills had gone from stud muffin to killer fag. Not long ago, he'd considered the possibility of doing Todd as well, and he still might want to. But not just yet. The pretty boy was making such a good decoy. Besides, if he did Todd like he'd done Michael, then would they suspect? No. Better not to stir things up just now. It was playing out all too perfectly. The door of the gay times opened again, and finally, there he was, Jeff. The big man who wanted nothing more out of life than to wear heels and belt out Broadway tunes. He sashayed out of the bar, a huge grin on that broad face, his eyes casting about the crowd of eager men. Yoo-hoo! Any of you boys want to take a nice queen home? All the makeup was gone. His face was scrubbed almost as red as a fresh beet, and what was left of his thinning hair was brushed carefully and neatly back. His plaid shirt was crisp and pressed as were the jeans that circled his large waist. Sure, Jeff made a neat, presentable package, but nothing nearly so glamorous and dramatic as Tiffany Crystal. What a pity. He was going to have to do Jeff. There was no question about it. Jeff knew too much about him. That was now abundantly clear. The only question was, when? He thought maybe tonight, which was why he was down here, parked across from the gay times, scoping the scene. Sure, he could play the troll and fish Jeff out of that crowd. Absolutely. And like some old troll, he could take him down by the Mississippi and do him under a bridge. But that would be too easy, and for that reason, far too obvious. No, far better to wait. Far better to throw a curve. Right, he thought, starting up his car and silently laughing to himself. A curve, something not only to keep the spotlight burning on Todd Mills, but to throw the police way off. And this was going to work perfectly. He was sure of it. He told himself as he backed out of the parking space, pulled out of the lot, and turned right on 4th Street. He had his big kitchen knife with him, wrapped in a t-shirt, under the seat, and he knew only too well where he could dig up trouble. A whole bunch of it right along the banks of Lake Calhoun. Turning right on Marquette and heading south. This should prove easy. He just prayed he'd still be able to get the story on Channel 7's Morning News. Gay Mysteries audiobooks. I think it is easy to hate a label, but a face humanizes the word. So this effort is twofold. to offer comfort to those like myself that your world didn't end because you don't fit into the view of acceptable society on both sides. And in hopes of helping those with family that are LGBTQ, that it doesn't mean we are aliens from the child they once knew. Reassure them so they can maybe be supportive at the same time, being true to their values.